during yesterday's press briefing, the Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab announced lockdown restrictions in Britain will continue for at least another 3 weeks, OK? Despite fresh calls from ministers to explain an exit strategy, the Foreign Secretary refused to set a time frame for easing social distancing measures.
Yeah, so joining us with her thoughts on that, Dr Philippa Kaye. Good morning, Philippa. So what did you think? Any surprise to you that it was another 3 weeks in lockdown?
So it's not a surprise, and we need to be waiting until the numbers of infections and the numbers of deaths begin to decrease, and actually not even begin to decrease, are quite far down that curve. So yes, we're beginning to see the plateau, the flattening, and that's really great, and it really shows that what we're doing is working. But if we were to come out of lockdown now, all that would happen to that nice flat curve is that we would suddenly get another spike. You're backwards on the screen, so another spike, and it would go up. And so we need to be sure that we are quite far down the curve until we come out of lockdown. So it's not a surprise, and I think it's really important that people's expectations are quite correct about what's going to happen. So we're going to be in this situation for at least another 3 weeks, and the reason why he can't predict exactly what's going to happen and when, and then exactly what they're going to do, is that we're being guided by the science here. And that means we need to wait for the numbers. So until we have evidence, we can't decide what to do next.
But there was one number that's dropped that you seem very pleased about, and this is the R value. This is the rate of infection. So explain what it was and what it is now.
So the R value is the number of people that you would infect if you were infected. So before social distancing, every person with coronavirus that was out and about as normal would infect 2.5 people on average. That means that after 30 days, the number of people that were infected from your original infection was 400. If the number drops to below 1, the number of people that you infect goes down to around 15. So it really works. So having your R number, the number of people that you infect below 1, makes a huge difference. So it has just got below 1, and we need to keep it that way.
So we've all got to play our part in that by staying at home.
Yeah, well, there are 5 factors that the government say they must be satisfied about before measures can be relaxed. So any of these that jump out on you, the first one obviously is the confidence that the NHS can still provide critical care. I mean, that's a given. A consistent and sustained fall in the daily death rate. The infection rate must be shown to decreased, which we're talking about there. Testing capacity and PPE is in hand. And then, most importantly, no risk of a second peak of infection. So those are the 5 factors.
And I think that what's really important here is that people understand that those death rates, sadly, are not going to fall for another period of time. And that's one of the reasons why we're in lockdown for another 3 weeks. So there's a real lag between the time that you get infected, the incubation period of the virus, so the time until you become unwell, and then you start off a little bit unwell. And if you are going to be one of the very small numbers of people who are going to become seriously unwell, need ITU, and then potentially pass away, there's a real lag in that of a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And that's why it's going to take some time for those death numbers to begin to fall, really sadly. And then the second thing that I think is really important is about the testing. So there's been talk about the app that's being developed, and in combination with the app, we would need really good testing that's available to the general public. And there's talk right now in the press about companies such as Amazon being involved with that. Now, what we're talking about there is a home swab for the antigen to test whether or not you've got it. And right now, trials are being done about the difference between if somebody were to take that swab themselves down the back of their mouths and throat versus a healthcare professional taking it. And if the numbers are about the same, if it's about as accurate if you can take it yourself, that means that we could deliver the test to your house, you take it, and it be picked up again. And if we could use that in combination with an app that would allow us to what's called contact trace and find out who you've been in contact with, and then ensure that all those people go into isolation together, then that would begin to give us some real freedom in what everybody else could then do in their daily life.
On the subject of freedom, Doctor, there are other ways in which people can get ill. And I really worry, and it is very, very sobering to think that hundreds of thousands of people who are watching this very programme today are doing it either completely alone, but they're doing it in really small confines. I mean, you know, say apartments or flats, or, you know, somewhere where they don't have access to space. A lot of people don't have access to neighbours or friends as well. Is the NHS still open for business generally, or what advice would you give to people who are mentally finding this really, really and continually hard, and the fact that they're being told, and it's going on for at least another 3 weeks?
Absolutely. So I'm so glad that you asked, and this is a really important message. The NHS is open. We have capacity. What we have seen over the last few weeks is fewer and fewer people present with non-corona related emergencies, heart attacks, strokes, asthma attacks, diabetes emergencies. I could go on and on. These are still happening. Please do not think that A&Es aren't open, that you are going to somehow or other put an excessive strain on the service. We need you to come, and we need you to come in those emergencies quickly. Don't wait. We are seeing people present with things like sepsis far later than we would want, and sometimes far later for treatment. Your GP surgery is open. We might be down the telephone at first, but if we need to see you, we will find a way of seeing you, be that at our own surgery or in what's called a hot hub or a cold hub. The suspected cancer clinics are still going on, and we are hearing far less from patients than we want to. So please, we are open. And with regards to your mental health, absolutely, your GP wants to hear from you. We can support you. And a lot of even the talking therapies, the psychological therapies are still going on. We might be doing them slightly differently, might be down the phone, might be video consultation, but we are still doing them. If you need help, please, please contact us. What we don't want to happen is the indirect effects of corona causing more illness.
Yeah. Doctor, wise words.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Very good to
indeed.
hear. And stay safe and well. Thank you.